and then he just, she attacks him for some fucking dumb reason, and then he just bloop. Nami sees this shit and she's like, "Oh, he killed that bitch." He like Nami's like, "Holy shit, dude! I need to get out of here."
Yo ho ho! He took a bite of gum gum.
Yada 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 daze.
Yada yada does it.
Yada yada daze. Man, I feel like Thriller Bark feels like a lifetime ago, man. Holy shit. Sure. It is so weird.
I fucking took off, dude. You hit the ground running and just didn't stop.
So yeah, like the next arc or next saga, right? Just yeah. It took me a while to like get the next saga going.
Yeah. But I remember you talking to me, you're like, "Bryce, I'm having a hard time getting through, man. Like, I barely watch an episode while I'm eating, like during the lunch or whatever."
For real. Like, it was like the stupid Duval guys and like the fishes, and it was nice to see Hachi, but it felt very fillery.
Mm-hmm.
But holy shit, that arc just starts going, dude. And you hit a certain point, and that's a time for next time. But this week, man, it's about Thriller Bark, Thriller Bark, right? So what? This is the episode after Aeneas Lobby? This is, yeah, right? Mm-hmm. The last big thing we had was this crazy long arc of trying to save Robin, Water 7, the ship. So I guess naturally, right, the next... You can't finish Aeneas Lobby, then go to fucking Marineford, right? There's no way, like, someone would write those two back to back in a way. So the crew has to like go on, and I figured like, okay, hey, we're gonna go fuck around for a little bit and go into like another adventure.
Right, they're getting sidetracked. They're still on their way to Fishman Island. That's their destination.
Dude, they're still on their way to Fishman Island. What the fuck?
That's how it started, man. They're like, let's go to Fishman Island, and then just all hell breaks loose between I guess Sky Pete. Was Sky Pete like when they said that they're going to Fishman Island? It was before Sky Pete, huh?
No, it was at Aeneas. Oh, they said like they want to go there someday, right, and see the giants and stuff too.
Right.
But it's at the end of this where Kokoro was like, "Hey, this will show you to Fishman Island." So like, and the new world. That's what they start just talking like, "Oh, if you like cross over here, this is the new world, right? It's like the halfway point."
Mm-hmm,
and the 4 emperors and all that, right? And then they're like, okay, we're gonna go. We got this new ship, we got this new crew member, and like, there's a whole little arc where they're fighting like a family in like this frozen tundra area, and it's like fine, but it's like a way to like introduce. I don't even know if it's filler. It felt so fillery that I didn't add it to this podcast. They fight a guy who's like very hot. He's like burning hot. And that's about it. They show like a couple of capabilities of the ship. Where like, Frankie's the most useful person on the team apparently now.
Mm-hmm.
And like, holy shit, like you can probably give him enough time and he'll solve anything at this point. And yeah, and then that arc was hard to get through. And then like Thriller Bark, right? Let's just like get into it. Like, dude, it's this guy. I've seen fucking Brooke everywhere, and so many things. Like, he's just, I guess all these characters are popular, but like Brooke is like one that kind of stands out in a lot of ways because you're like, who the fuck is that guy? Why is this a skeleton with an afro?
Of course he stands out.
And just like, and I guess I never realized if he was like part of the crew or maybe he was like a character for an arc, because like, how do you have a skeleton join your crew? Like, it'd be part of the series at that point, but fucking Luffy asks him to join, man. So
I mean, he's what he always wanted. He always wanted a musician.
Yeah, that too, right? Yeah,
I think that gave him his like
this guy's
saying
joining
that
us.
he's a shoo-in. He's a shoo-in. Like, oh, this is the musician. He's joining the crew no matter what.
Yeah, well, when they first meet him here, he just invites him because he's a skeleton. He's like, "Join my crew," and Brooke's like, "All right," and then Brooke turns him down later because he has to get a shadow and all that. But Brooke, how did you feel about Brooke when you first got here? Like, do you already know he was a crewmate and all that, or is this a while after?
In my first the time I was watching it, no, I didn't think anything that like Brooke was gonna join the crew, because we've already had characters that I thought was gonna join the crew but just didn't.
Yeah.
So I figured he might be like one of those characters. But then I heard he's a musician, and that kind of raised, I'm gonna say,
like kind of check the box, like, oh shit.
Yeah. He's kind of checking the boxes that he is actually going to be a crew member.
Like the musician joke has been a joke since like before they got Chopper. They were like, hey, we need to get a musician before we get a doctor.
It was like when he first got Zorro and they were sailing off. He said, "I want a musician next."
Yeah. And you have no idea as a musician here, right? Until like he just starts. I mean, he's singing a little bit when you first meet him. Mm-hmm. That I do. I fucking love this scene where you first meet him, and he looks at Nami, and he's like, "Oh, a lady."
I'm somewhat of a gentleman myself.
Yes. He like starts brushing himself off and shit. He's like fixing his little bow tie, polishes his shoe, and he's just like, "I'm such a gentleman." And then, "Can I see your panties?" May I see your panties? And it's a great goof, and just. Why does the skeleton have a lump on his head? What is going on? Brooke is so fucking weird, dude. There's so many things that just pop up and you're like, what? So I eventually accepted it to be like, Brooke is basically a human. He just looks like a skeleton, but he cries, he farts, he can taste, and he can see. He literally eats as well. His very existence should be pain, or like just not pain, but like he shouldn't be able to feel, see, or anything, right? He's a fucking skeleton,
right?
But the Gum crew is just, hey, he's a human. It's so weird. It's so fucking weird. It's hard to like. Just don't think about it. Just don't think about it. He's basically a human, and he does worry about dying, but he just looks like a skeleton, and that's just how I'm gonna leave it. But yeah, this is the first episode where they meet Brooke. The crew ends up in the Florian Triangle, which is, it might not be the Florian Triangle, but like it's basically the Bermuda Triangle, right? It's like a reference to that, where like people get lost and shit, and like you never see them again. Their ships get lost, and his ship was just floating out there, and the crew kind of ended up there at some point. Luffy immediately meets Brooke and is like, join my crew. And Brooke's like, all right. And then just a lot of good goofs of like him getting on the ship and like Zoro always being the straight man and be like, oh, you can't be fucking serious. And I love Usopp's like I love everyone's outfit in this arc. Like I love how like they changed their color. Like Nami's always wearing something different, right? So is Robin. They usually change her up too. Usopp is like perfectly themed for like a fucking pirate hunter. Like you can tell, like, oh, this is the adventure we're getting into. We're going into fucking Halloween land. Like some shit like that's gonna happen. And then Luffy with his orange, like pumpkin colored vest and all that. It's great. I love like how they change it for every single saga and arc. And yeah, Brooke with his dumb skull jokes, and him eating food, and basically there was a guy who stole his shadow, and he's trying to get it back, and that's why he's like still floating around in the sea trying to find this guy. Without your shadow, if you walk into the sun, you get obliterated like a vampire. And so he's basically like stuck in this cloudy Florian Triangle area trying to find the guy who took his shadow. And he was like gonna play something for them for the first time. You're like, oh shit, he's a musician, but he never gets to because like one of Perona's ghosts show up.
Yeah, and it freaks him out.
Yeah, it scares the shit. The ghost scares the undead skeleton. Yes. The fucking stupid. But yeah, but this is where
it's like it's just like that joke they were saying when they see Brooke the first time, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, be gone, evil spirits, be gone!" And he's like, "Evil spirits, where?" He's
Yeah. He does that first. Evil spirits, where? Let's see here. So before earlier they had like accidentally found like a it was like a barrel in the middle of the water, um, and it had like a well, we didn't know it was in it. Yeah, it basically had a flare in it. Yeah,
I thought it was treasure.
I thought Brooke was gonna be in it because I knew Brooke was in this next arc. But yeah, they thought it was treasure or something. But it had a flare, and basically that flare signals the Thriller Bark ship or island to come and get you. I think the idea of island ship is really fucking cool. It's super weird. But yeah, I think the design of like actual Thriller Bark is awesome, and it like lets them do like this weird like Halloween. Oh my god, he's running on the water. He's just
he's like the only like devil fruit user who's like immune to the curse.
Well, yeah, because like if he drowns, he's not gonna drown, right? He's a fucking skeleton.
Oh, I don't know.
That's or does that nullify it? Huh?
I'm just saying that he's just running over the water.
If someone touches him with the Sea Prism Stone, does he just die? Because that would like nullify the effect of the tests must be had. I'm sure it just
for science.
Yeah, like if fucking Smoker ran up and poked him with this thing, like would he just instantly die? Nah, I don't know. We'll probably never find out. But yeah, of course, there's this island and fucking Nami Team Weaklings don't want to go, and team, the people who actually are strong and powerful,
the Monster 3,
the Monster 4 or 5 at this point, because they have Robin, Frankie, Zoro, and Sanji, right? They're like the most powerful on the ship. They can fucking handle. They have the high bounties, even though Chopper fucking with his 50 berry bounty. But yeah, Luffy wants to go explore it, and he's about to. And then like Nami they were gonna take the new what is it?
The little mini boat.
Yeah, it's a mini. They made a little mini Mary, like to like commemorate Mary. Well, it's not that. God damn it. Where is it? Number 3. There it is.
Look at it.
Like little Mary. Basically, she wants to take it on the test ride because Frankie just revealed it for the first time, and then they end up crashing to the island, and of course, that's what happens, and this is how the adventure starts. Yeah, there's like this dude who like gets on the ship. It's like clearly Invisible Man. He's like tossing everyone around and shit, and he's like fucking putting himself on Robin, like licking her and shit. And this is where we meet one of the first crewmates, Absalom. He's a fucking creep. But he is an Invisible Man and Sanji's biggest rival. Let's see. But yeah, the first, I guess, like a really quick. It's the first couple episodes are like Nami, Usopp, and Chopper on like landing on the island and like exploring it till they get to the castle. But it's a really funny like juxtaposition because later the 4 monsters get on the island and just like the juxtaposition between the two is fucking hilarious because these two are like scared of everything, and then the other 4 come in and like are like dominating the island basically. Let's see. And Chopper with this big chain, his chain cross. It's fucking cool. It's very when he goes into like big human mode, it looks like a big piece of bling. Let's see here. But yeah, it's let's see if I can get like a good point. Brooke. Yes, the Scooby-Doo crew I described, these 3, then the adventuring crew, everyone else. 343. Man, there's a doctor on the island, Dr. Hogback. Chopper comes to meet him, and like Chopper like knows the name to Hogback from like he was like a famous doctor that disappeared at some point. Hey, this is where he's at. He's making zombies for, which we find out later is the pirate Lord Moria. And let's see. and they basically catch him doing this shit for the first time. Because there's like, there's a lot of goofs where like they don't believe what they're seeing, and then they're finally seeing like, oh, all that shit we saw was real. But here's and Brooke is on this island too, trying to find the guy who took his shadow.
He's on his mission.
Yeah, and he's like doing that shit separately. Oh, where's that shot of like Luffy pushing the guy back in? A severely injured old man. It's obviously a zombie. Is this where he puts him back in?
Because the dude was just like barely crawling out of the grave.
Yeah. Where he meets like the first zombies.
It's probably in a previous episode.
That's like when they first walk up into him, maybe, yeah. That's it. 32. But yeah, like basically all of Thriller Bark, like I really don't need to go like through every single episode, and like I'm just trying to find spots like I really enjoyed. It's just like a fucking kooky ass adventure, dude. Like there's like paintings that are like, you know, following them and shit. Like Scooby Doo haunted house. There's a creepy room with pictures of this dead girl everywhere. Let's see here. And then yeah, there's a really good there's like this giant Cerberus thing that was like tormenting Nami and Usopp earlier. Nami and Usopp and them find this hogback guy, and he's like being all hospitable, and he's being like, hey, you know, just chill the night here, go to bed and whatnot. And Nami's taking a shower, and she gets freaking assaulted by the invisible man. She like gets pinned and shit. It's like, man, this shit would not fly nowadays. Is this a kid's show? But it's really funny. She's like, come in and help me. And Usopp and Chopper come in. They're like, thank you. Thank you for this. I just like how he bows. Thank you very much. You just think there. But yeah, the fucking Absalom's a fucking creep. And that's like his whole thing. He's one of the crew members. And the other goof of like the other crew coming to the island and just like dominating these guys. Luffy like just woofing back at the Cerberus, and it's like, what the fuck? Why are you woofing at me? And they're just like, don't give a shit. They're not scared at all. It's like, you just gotta tame it, and like they bite Luffy's head. It's like, no, we just gotta train it. We just gotta teach him. He's like petting him. There, you're a good dog. And then, bam, you damn mutt. I was like, where is it at? You damn mutt. Damn, you damn mutt.
You gotta show his dominance.
Down. He's like, down, dog, down. He's already knocked the shit out of it. And then the next scene, he's like, yeah, the next scene, he's already riding it. Yeah, he's already riding it. And yeah, it's like the whole first part of like, hey, there's a whole thing of like the crew getting on the island and like exploring it, and there's just a bunch of funny goofs, and I really enjoyed it overall. Like it's a difference between like this and let's say the Sky P, right? Like this one is like a very simple, like it's like weirdly Halloween themed or like, you know, like horror themed, and right. It's just really funny, and they're just like trying to have fun with it. There is some like really serious shit that happens towards the end though, like it does tie back into like the overall world, but like it's just like a really kooky ass adventure. The fucking talking pig thing, and like there's so much good shit, right? So I really just kind of like want to hit those points of like, hey, like what are the highlights of like the whole arc itself. So Usopp versus Perona. Usopp, I think this is the point where they're fighting back, and trying to like get everyone's shadows basically got taken at this point, and they're just like, hey, trying to fight back, right? Because when if you don't have your shadow, you know, if you got on the sun, you will get obliterated. So Perona's power is like basically she can shoot like a phantasm that like makes you doubt yourself and like be negative, like it's a negative ghost, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone on the member like it works super well on, like just completely destroys them because they can't fight against her. It just has no effect on Usopp. Like it's just like the end of a scene of like him trying to shit on Luffy. It's a reverse scene of Perona trying it on Usopp, and she's like, "What the fuck? How are you countering it? Why is this not working?" He's like, "I've always been negative," and then
he's her hard counter.
Yeah, he's her hard counter, and it's like a whole episode of being like, "Oh fuck this," and she's just like she's trying to run away, but the other guys left. They're like, "Oh Usopp, you got this. You can handle this." But they just left him alone, even though there's like 50 zombies that he cannot take on at the same time. So it's just like it's a goofy ass fight. None of these fights are like super serious, but it's hilarious how like Perona's like, I can't believe this isn't working on him. How could you be so negative? And like, then her and her zombies start cheering Usopp on, being like, "Ganbare, you can do it, Usopp!" Like trying to cheer him on because like he seems downright suicidal how negative he is, and they're just like trying to, like bring him up, right? And yeah, it's showing some of the Zoro and other dude fight, but I do want to finish off Usopp. But it's like basically, hey, she runs away, and then she starts acting weird, like she starts flying now, and like he can't hit her with anything anymore, and she's able to like make ghosts that explode. Like it seems like he's fighting a different person altogether. Then he figures out like, hey, what changed? It's like, oh, when she got away from me, she like disappeared for a while, and he figures out like, hey, her body's actually like hidden in like a secret room, and he's like, she's been fighting
a fake.
A fake the whole time. I think this is where he finally. Is this where it's revealed? Or. No, not yet. There's a really good moment. Yeah, earlier where like she's about to kill Usopp, and then he just like suddenly puts the fucking Soga King mask on and like dodges the attack. And it's just really cool because like the Soga King like music starts playing and shit. See, maybe it was a 360 here. Yeah, like the Kumasi like starts beating the shit out of him, and it looks like he's about to die. And in Usopp fashion, right? And he was like super happy that he was like, "Oh, there's someone only I can fight, only I can beat," right? And fucking Kumasi's just beating the shit out of him, dude. Boom. Yeah, look at him.
His eyes bulging out.
Yeah, because like Usopp had already fucked with him so many times at this point, and yeah, Kumasi's just beating the shit out of him. And then all of a sudden, freaking the Soga King music like starts playing, and then he gets all brave. The Save Me Soga King! His alternate personality. Does it play the music? I'm pretty sure it does. Let's see. He's like, yeah, save me, save me. And then he calls out the Soga King. Let's see. Yeah. His place is right there when he puts his hand in his mouth. Mouth thing goes dun 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 dun. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like right when he puts his arm in his mouth, it just says "Save me, Soga King." Then you hear the theme music, dun 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 dun. It's really good. And then he beats Kumasi because you just have to put salt in their mouth or have them ingest salt, and that'll dispel the shadow effect that's like creating the zombies. But that was like a really good moment in terms of like the Usopp fight. I think like it's just really fun. I enjoyed all these episodes with her and Perona, or him and Perona. But the reveal where he figures out where she's at is really cool. But it's the scene where like he actually beats her is really fun. Where like he's just like screwing with her hard. Where like he shoots like a cannonball at her, but it's like filled with roaches, and this poor girl has all these fucking roaches all over her, and she
only likes cute things.
She only likes cute things, dude. She does not like this. She's like, "Oh, please stop. Okay, like you win. Stop. They're gross. Get me out of here, please." And she is freaking
They're
out.
just keeping on.
Yeah, dude. It's a really good. Like it's a perfect punishment for her, who's like a really like playful person, right? And like, oh, I love cute things only. And then freaking Usopp with his fake 10-ton mallet, but he just like tries to pull it off, and Usopp just wins out of sheer like.
He's playing head games.
Yeah, he's just playing fucking mind games, right? Like completely destroyed this girl. Yeah, you've underestimated me, and she just like passes out from stress or whatever.
She thought she was gonna get crushed.
Yeah,
big ass hammer.
Big ass hammer and all these dude, the roach part like freaks me out, man. Yeah. I would not be like having a good time.
He's saying his long ass attack name.
Oh yeah, like super long. And then I think it's a balloon because it just pops. Yeah, it just pops, but she just knocks out. She was already out before it fucking hit her. And yeah, it's a really good Usopp moment. I love it. I love when he does shit like this, or just like thinks things through and then just has like a counter for it, and the way he counters her is like a punishment for her, right? It's like, oh, dude, I just can't. Fuck roaches, man. I hate roaches so much. I just do not like, fuck that, dude. I would hate that shit. But yeah, it's a really good part. Yeah, it's really funny. There's a really funny scene where like they gather back up at the ship, and like Sanji's so fucking pissed, dude. He's on fire. There's a really good scene earlier where like everyone's gathered at the ship and they're like telling everything's happened, where Nami's at, and they're like, yeah, this guy peeped on Nami and like assaulted her in the restroom, and now he's trying to marry her. And Sanji like goes fucking Super Saiyan, dude. It's really funny. And Zoro's like, hey, if you keep getting him madder and madder, he's gonna fucking transform. Which I like. Like it's a freaking Dragon Ball reference, because like how they drew it and all that. It's hilarious. But it's not really a fight. It's just like him beating the shit out of Absalom. Absalom has like is he an invisible man? But this whole time throughout the episodes, he had been like shooting shit out of his hands, and everyone's like, oh, what is his power actually? Well, the guy, he can make pieces of his body invisible, right? Or anything touching him. So he actually has like cannons strapped to his arms. See if I can. You can see like a little bit of the strips there on the left arm. Yeah, there's the cannons. He has cannons strapped to his arm, and that's how he's fighting everyone. The main takeaway here, though, is that that line there is that this whole time Sanji had like a, what is it when you like promise yourself something?
A goal or a dream?
Like, yeah, a dream, or like, hey, if this happens, I will do it, right? He said like, if I ever ran into the invisible fruit or whatever the fuck it's called, I think it's called clear maybe.
Yeah, clear fruit.
If I ever run into clear fruit, that would be the devil fruit I eat. And then the day I met you, you're he hates Absalom, one because of all the shit he did to Nami, but the fact that the clear fruit is not out there anymore because Absalom ate it. And he's like, now I can never be that person to have that power. And he's like, why do you want that power? And it's the same thing. Just imagine how I could help others. I could. It's funny. He's trying to like be all noble. No, just imagine how I could help others. I could watch women bathe. And
freaks the zombies out.
Yeah, and even the zombies are like, "Oh, you're just like him. You're a monster, just like Absalom." No, what I could accomplish with this ability. Yeah, and he's just, it's a really funny goof of like, he hates him because he has a clear fruit and all the shit he did to Nami. It's not really a fight. It's just like him kicking the shit out of Absalom. Like the Thriller Bark pirates aren't like menacing in any way, right? Even like Moria is like not really. He kind of just fucks with people. And that's about it, right? Like, none of this crew's like, I don't know. Like, of course, CP9. It's not a serious fight. It's not like the outcome of this fight is not going to determine anything, I guess. I don't know. Right. What were you going to say?
Oh, I'm just saying that they're just passively just building an army. They're not like going out and about. They're not really. They don't have really a big ambition, I guess, is what I say.
it like Moria's like trying to gather power, and that's his goal. Is like, I want to get carried to be Pirate King. I'm gonna make like the most badass zombies that'll like make a Pirate King. And there's some scenes of like Luffy fighting him, but he's not really fighting him. He's fighting his shadow, and it's just Moria just sitting down, chilling the whole time. All right, so Dr. Hogback and Chopper, right? Dr. Hogback was like this famous doctor that like Chopper like read about and respected. He's like, oh, like this whole adventure kind of starts with like when they land on the island and he hears Hogback's there. He's like, Nami, I really want to like see Mr. Hogback and like learn more from him and stuff. And he's like this starry-eyed look and all that, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, we can't fucking deny you when you're being that way. They can't say
no to Chopper.
Yeah, they can't say no when he's being that way. So he's like, yeah, let's go. And there's like people with their heads cut off or like fucking faces transplanted on trees and shit. And it's like they're still going through with it because of Chopper. They eventually meet Hogback, and he was the guy who was like being nice to them, being like, hey, y'all chill and don't ever go into my lab. And and eventually it's revealed that Hogback has been working for Moria because a long time ago there was this girl he like fell in love with, and he was gonna propose to her, like ask her out, I guess, but he found out that she was like already getting married to someone else. A couple of years later, she ends up just dying to like an accident, like unrelated to him. But in like he was like heartbroken and was like, okay. Moria walked up to him and was like, hey, I could revive her, or like me and you could work together and we could like create something here, and we could like revive people, right? But the thing is like, so what he needs Moria's power to do this. All Hogback is doing is grabbing the bodies and making them functional again, so they can like move around and like function again. Because what Moria is doing, he's grabbing the shadows from other people and then implanting them into bodies. And the shadows share the zombie's personality, or the person's personality and stuff. And eventually the personality and stuff goes away and they become mindless. But at the very beginning, they're very like, hey, this is just a version of that person, like a literal shadow, or like a shadow, right? Like it is their other self. So, but he does it for Hogback here. But the girl's dead. There's no shadow to put in it, right? He can't get her shadow out. So they're not really reviving people. It's just like Moria's like sick gum power, right? That devil fruit power that's doing this. They're not actually like reviving people back to life, and like because like that's what Hogback is trying to do. Is like we could help so many people who've lost people and all that shit, but it's not really what's happening. This girl has like some other chick's personality who like hates plates or something. But yeah, like Chopper's like fucking. Because originally when he was like, "Oh, he's reviving the dead," think what we could do. Like Chopper was like, "If we could bring back all the like ones we've lost, like he may be onto something here." But then he like kind of sees like what he's actually doing and shit, and it pisses Chopper off. And he's like, "Okay, like I have to bring you down." And he treats the Cindy girl like subhuman. He's like, no, you lick the floor because I'm in complete control. Like just showing like he's in control of everything. And he's like making her lick the floor and shit. And Chopper not having that shit, man. And yeah, it's not really a fight per se. It's just like them like talking and shit. And they like battle against these two. So these two zombies here, do you know who they are?
I remember the dog one. I think his name was like Dog Pound or something.
Mm-hmm. They're the new recruits. Earlier in the show, this guy showed up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm the new recruit," or like, you know, "Hey, here's the Penguin Squad, and I'm the new guy they added just recently." Mm-hmm. And in that same time, Sanji had disappeared for a while, so he had Sanji's personality. He was like protecting Nami and stuff, and like defeating people by kicking them. And I was like, what the fuck? Did they like put Sanji's brain in this thing? That's what I initially thought, because it's not revealed until way later what like Moria's doing and how he's doing it. That is just the shadow. Because earlier it showed the samurai guy and he was going yo ho ho and like acting like Brook, right? And I was like, what is Brook's body? Like is Brook? Wait, Brook doesn't have a brain. Okay, did he move his soul into? But it doesn't make sense there either. So you're wondering like what are they doing to our crewmates here? But no, like Moria strips the shadow and then they put him into the zombies, and again they share personalities. traits. So yeah, this guy is Sanji, and this one is Zoro's shadow over here. The guy gets lost, and these two constantly fight. Like they cannot work together. These two
like
zombies.
Zoro.
Yeah, exactly. And Robin realizes it, and she's like, she just uses it to her advantage of like just makes them fight each other, because they're like really strong, right? But she just makes them argue. You know, they're just they're just like pounding each other. Like, what are y'all doing? And there's like having this hardcore ass fight. It's like really well animated too and stuff. It's like really funny that they like spent the budget there. And he's trying to tell him to stop, but Robin just covers his mouth and like it solves the whole problem. They're still fighting each other. And then she tricks him into saying, "Hey," wouldn't you really like me to jump off this tower? Yeah, why don't you order us two to jump off this tower? And he yells that at her. And of course, the two zombies fucking jump out, and he gets tricked. I don't know what like this is supposed to symbolize, but it's like the Sindri, the zombie stops like listening to, I guess like part of her spirit soul is still there or something. That's what it's supposed to signify. But she stops listening to Hogback and it starts crying. And then it doesn't really ever go to an into later because fucking Oars just kind of crashes into the building and fucks everything up. And that's kind of like how their fight ends. The next fight is Zoro and Shadowbrook, which is just like a really cool, like, oh, dude, the fucking voice actor for the samurai dude, like, just kills it, man. He sounds so cool. Yo ho ho, yo ho ho, dude, it's so good. And I know you can't hear it, Bryce, but I did put it in the thing. But you said you didn't really remember this guy until like you had like saw the preview, right? Or like your little recap you did.
Yeah.
This
is a legendary samurai. Near the body, he's got one of the legendary swords.
Yeah, he has what are they called? The swords? Fuck. They have a certain name, but it's the one where the girl mentioned there's like 21 of them, and I want to get them all, right? Like it's that one, that list of swords. Yeah, he's like apparently the body of a very legendary samurai that like killed a dragon or something. This is who has had Brook's body. Brook like beelined it to him, has been trying to beat them this whole time, and Brook got his ass kicked. Clearly, like he was no match for the samurai. It has Brook's personality and stuff, and Brook himself is like a swordsman, which I thought it was like I didn't know actually.
He is a swordsman.
Yeah, he's like a swordsman. I don't know. He like Brook was getting fucked up. I was like, dude, how's he gonna repair this? He's a skeleton. He won't heal, and of course he's gonna heal, except for this little crack here. This little crack here is never gonna heal. But all this is gonna be
for a long
fine.
time. I thought that was just like a little hair or something, like just a little tiny strand of hair that's coming out of his afro.
Well, sometimes you see him open the top of his head, and you'll do it, and that's the line where it'll open up from. So yeah, it is a crack. And yeah, it's a really cool fight between these two. Like every time there's a samurai character or someone with a katana, I'm like, oh, Zoro, I want you to fight him, dude. And like, of course, when this guy came, like, Brook's gonna lose, and Zoro's gonna show up and fight him because Zoro already said he was gonna go help Brook. And of course, the payoff is there. More payoff than fucking dumbass what's his face giraffe from the last
Kaku
podcast. Kaku, yeah.
We're not gonna get dude. Again.
I'm never gonna let it go, dude. It's such a fucking tease, man. But yeah, this whole fight's cool, and like the episode prior, kind of like Jabasu thinking Zoro lost. Because all of a sudden this guy's on fire and he's blue, and like Zoro gets knocked down and looks worse than this, but Zoro actually gets the killing blow, and it kind of like purifies him, I guess. Which, okay, how did Zoro's sword purify him? Because like he didn't ingest salt, but like whatever move Zoro did like released the soul and shit. I never actually went back and thought about that. Did he hit him with the white sword? It might be something with the white sword. I don't know. That's a thing to think about. But he gives him his sword because in Ennis Lobby, one of his swords that was given to him by the blacksmith from that one city, it got rusted because he met the one dude who could rust weapons when he touches them, and he hit him with the sword. So that sword was dead. And he gives him this new sword, which now you can like kind of like, okay, this is the one with the little circles, and I could really never tell the difference between. I knew the cursed blade was like purple, but I could never tell like what the other blade looked like. And then this one, of course, is his like most important one, right? I forgot the name of it, Washimoto or some shit. Yeah, these fight, I enjoyed it, and this whole time, in the background of like this whole arc, like Oars is just fucking about, dude. He's like moving the ship, turning the sails, and just setting the course wrong and like destroying their own knights, because it is just Luffy's shadow put into a giant's body. And of course he's a fucking doofus, and he's gonna destroy everything on accident. But Moria isn't worried about it because he said like after a certain point the personality goes away and then he'll be subservient. And there's Moria there chilling, dude. He's like not even lifting a finger to fight Luffy.
Dude looks like a turnip.
Yeah, that's what he keeps calling him, right? Like a turnip or something. I forgot what he said. He doesn't say turnip, but I had to look up what Luffy kept calling him, and yeah, it is like an onion turnip type of thing. It's like a long
radish?
stem.
I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't say radish, but it is like a vegetable because I looked it up. It must be like a Japanese thing, or like a common vegetable in Japan. Let's see.
Adrian doesn't eat a whole lot of vegetables, guys.
Shut up. All right. Zoro and Shadowbrook. And I really like. So like Brook, this whole time was, hey, trying to get his body back, right? There was a certain scene between these two. Earlier, where Frankie's like, okay. Like he like tells the Muriel, right? He's like, you're a skeleton. Like your life outside of this triangle area is gonna be super fucked. Like you're gonna be an outcast, and like he like tells him like some real dark shit, right? It's like, why would you still want to continue living this way? Like, why are you still going? Like basically asking, why are you still going at this point? And he's like, and then it cuts away. Then you see Frankie crying later, and he's like, "Oh god damn it, I love that skeleton." And he's doing his thing, right? And he's doing his own thing. Later, it's revealed where like Frankie tells him, that this is one of the members of Laboon's friends, and that he fucking Brooke is like, "I promised Laboon to go back and see him, dude. I promised Laboon I was gonna go all the fucking way back, and I'll do it, goddammit." And it's a really cool, like, of course this author did not plan this out, right? But it's like a really, I like that it tied it back in, and it's so long ago too. It's like, dude, like 300 fucking episodes back, man.
I think that's a pretty good way of writing. If you have a lot of stuff, like if you just start just leaving stuff like open-ended, like in the beginnings, you can always tie that shit in like somewhere.
You can always go back in some way, right? Or like have it reference something, yeah.
And then you as the reader, as soon as they mention something that happened like 300 or 400 episodes ago, be like Pog face and just like, oh, Poggers.
Poggers. What did you think when he was like, so like when he's like, oh, I got this friend back and we left him behind, and I said I would go back. Where you instantly be like, what the fuck?
No, yeah, I was exactly how I mentioned it. I was Poggers. I was like, oh, I had the Pog face. I was like, ooh, I remember that.
And it's just,
but like,
go ahead.
The whole flashback with Brooke and them with it made it really sad. I was like, oh no,
yeah,
oh,
yeah. They're like, you see a lot more of Laboon in their interactions, right? And that it's like the last part of all this. Yeah. But just really quick, like, yeah, I just wanted to mention, like, hey, he like wanted to, he was Laboon's friend, and that's the reason he's like doing all this, is like, hey, I want to go see him. And it's a really funny scene with Frankie telling him, and then the scene where like Luffy's like, yo, I know who. He tells Frankie this, right? Because Brook isn't there because Brook is trying to get his body back. He's like, dude, like we met Laboon. He's like still fucking there. And then it does, the whole episode flashback thing and all that. And it's just, it's a nice payoff, right? Like it's not like you met Laboon for 2 episodes. Like it's mostly there to set up Vivi, right? But it's a nice way of like going all the way back and pulling something and being able to like, it's just it's just really well tied, right? Made something that was like kind of like nothing in a lot of ways and make it a lot bigger, and then of course with Brooks flashback make it a whole fucking thing, right? That you're like, now I gotta see this reunion, like I fucking dare you. Like now I hunger for this, like you fucking asshole. And it's but the other like rest of it is, let's see, God man, Kuma. So really quick before we get to Kuma, we got to get to this Moria guy, right? Like, how do you feel about Moria overall, I guess? Like, how do you personally feel about
they kind of hype him up because he's like somebody who went face to face with Kaido. And I don't know I don't know if you know a whole bunch about Kaido, but he is a bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably other than Whitebeard, he's probably like one of the fucking strongest pirates out there because he's one of the 4 emperors of the sea. They call them the Yonkos.
Yeah. I just know Kaido just from like everyone's watching One Piece and like it's like a recent thing, right? Like where they're fighting him. It's like pretty recent, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Cause like people are just on Twitter and like or like just YouTube videos just flashing by and I just see the name Kaido, right? Mm-hmm. I know he's like a big dragon man or some shit. Like I really that's like all I know.
Right. And they drop his name quite a bit, like in the, like
which
throughout
is
the series.
Fucking crazy. When he mentions him, I was like, Kaido. I know I don't fight him for 600 episodes. like it's such a weird like feeling of being like, holy shit, did they set that up?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
When they mention that he's fought Kaido and stuff, it's like, man, Moria must be like this strong dude if he went face to face with them. But no, he's just some lazy asshole.
Like even Morris is like, I got my shit kicked in by Kaido.
Yeah. So it's a little underwhelming.
Yeah. And I was and then we're going to this like very horror themed, like it's gonna be Dracula. This guy's gonna be like Dracula. It's gonna be really cool. Like no, it's like this lazy onion man who like looks like a vampire, I guess, but he's just. I do like. So like the big physical punchy guy is obviously Oars, right, for this arc. Like this is the thing that we have to like fight and beat physically, right? And then like Moria's doing some shit to like make it stronger, and he's kind of controlling it like a big mech. But I do like where like someone mentions like, oh, Luffy's facing Moria right now, while everyone else is doing thing, and someone was like, Moria's not gonna sit there and fight him. He's just gonna like run away and fuck around, and that's like Luffy's biggest weakness. Is that if people just don't want to fight him and just screw with his head. And of course, Luffy falls for every single trick Moria lays down, where like he's running away and wasting his time and shit. But I like that it was like a good like someone on the crew realizing like if Luffy fights anyone with a brain or like with any trick like non-honorable fighting, right? Mm-hmm. Like Luffy's gonna lose 10 out of 10 like every fucking time. Like this guy's Luffy can't take like motherfuckers falling for freaking Foxy's outfits and shit. Like he's not gonna be able to beat Moria in like a mind game. Mm-hmm. But eventually, what happens actually, what makes Moria actually want to face him, and I just remembered this. So at some point, the reason Moria wants to fight was like, fuck it, I'll fight him, right? Was Kuma arrives onto the island. Bartholomew Kuma, dude, this fucking guy, dude. And we've seen him before in like one episode. But like, dude, like as the show goes on, I'm just like, dude, this fucking guy, man, there he is. He just shows up he like pops on the island, right? and Piranha sees him. She's like, "Holy shit! I know who that is." And Namidi's like terrified. And Nami's like seeing this because Piranha's like trying to take their ship, and she's like filling it all with Thriller Bark's gold and food and shit. And she's like, "I'm gonna take their ship and take off." But Kuma arrives just in the nick of time, and he arrives to the island to be like, one, he wipes out Piranha immediately. He just like swipes at her and she's fucking gone. Let's see if I can get the good swipe here. Like Piranha's like, Geckomore's probably gonna lose. I'm gonna fucking bail on this island. Yeah, but Kuma arrives. He's flipping his little Bible, and then he just, she attacks him for some fucking dumb reason, and then he just bloop. And I love how it's like so cartoony and like, what the fuck? Nami sees this shit and she's like, "Oh, he killed that bitch." He like Nami's like, "Holy shit, dude! I need to get out of here." She's like freaking out. She's like, "We are so fucked. We got Moria and we're fighting this fucking crazy asshole too, another warlord of the sea."
Yeah. Nobody knows what actually happened.
Yeah, like no one knows how the power
gone.
works. Yeah. And like feeds into things that happen later in the series, but yeah, she's just fucking gone. So Kuma arrives to the island to basically talk to Moria, right? And then Moria was like doing some games with Luffy, and he lost Luffy at some point. Moria goes back to the castle, and Kuma's there waiting for him. And he's there like, "Hey, we have a new warlord, Blackbeard Teach. He captured Ace, and he's our new warlord." They're like kind of discussing business basically, and Moria's like, "Yeah, why are you here?" And he was basically like, "Well, we knew Luffy would probably bump into you since he was on his way to Fishman Island. And we were afraid you were going to lose. We were afraid he's going to kick the shit out of you." And Moria just gets instantly angry, and he's like, "Fuck that shit." It's like, and Kuma's like, "And I'm here to like give assistance," right? He's like, Kuma's trying to like do the right thing, like help his like co-worker, I guess, or whatever. And Moria's like, "No, fuck that shit. I'm going to kill that kid myself."
I'll show you.
Yeah, basically, that's like what leads to Moria Kuma's like, all right, I'll just watch then, and I'll chill here. And it leads to Moria jumping into Oars and like controlling it, and it gives Oars like ability to like do gum punches and all that shit, and eventually they beat it by breaking its back, like hitting him so hard that he breaks its back and it's not able to move. And they throw some salt in it, and Luffy gets his shadow back. And then Moria gets... Or no, I don't think there's shadow in it. I think Moria gets really big. Moria sucks all the shadows on the island and gets, like, stupid big.
Oh, you never mentioned the pink-haired lady. Lola?
There's a lot to go. Lola, her shadow was, like, a big pig thing that was trying to marry Absalom and was jealous. But Lola, I guess she's like a more important character later, or whoever her mother is or something. Shit, I'm trying to get there we go, Lola. Her and Nami become like best buds by the end. I'm guessing she's gonna be more relevant down the line, the way I've heard things or just inferred. But yeah, she was on this island trying to get her shadow back this whole time. I think she says she has a mom on Cake Island. She has a mom somewhere.
Yes.
It's Cake Island, right? Okay. Because I know she mentioned the place, and I was like, "Oh, I know that place." Because I know there's a Cake Island arc at some point. Because I saw you watch it years and years ago. So
years and years ago, yes.
Yeah. Like 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, she's, I guess, going to become more important later. But she's a lady who's like going around... And I think they call her No Love Lola or something. I don't know. She like asks a bunch of people to marry her, and she constantly gets denied, and they keep count of it. But her shadow was like Nami's best friend, and then they become super good friends too. Moria pops out of Oars, and the only interesting thing he does, he like sucks up all the shadows on the island and gets really big, and like he collects
really big,
like really big. But that's just a bigger target for Luffy and them to beat the shit out of it. And They literally just punch Moria so much that he just spits everything out. Like he doesn't really get to do anything.
No.
Like at all. Like they kind of just beat the shit out of him.
Made him throw up.
Yeah, he's making him throw up. Well, at this point, the sun is coming up, and a lot of people are like starting to like fucking phase out because they don't have their shadows. So it's like more of a race of time of like how fast can Luffy get these shadows out of this dude before we all die. But eventually, Luffy gets them all in and knocks out all the shadows out of him. And that is Moria. Like, yeah, like you mentioned, like I was like, oh, Warlord of the Sea, cool. And it sounded like you thought he was cool too when you first when you mentioned Moria, or maybe I inferred because I thought he was a Dracula man, and I was like, oh, Dracula's fucking cool.
Right, they're just trying to hype him up.
Yeah, and then now like by the end of it, you're like, oh, Moria, whatever.
He's a pushover.
But you know who was fucking hype? Bartholomew Kuma, dude.
Yes.
The true villain of this arc, dude. Holy shit, man. This fucking guy, dude. Where do I start? One, he's a very big man. And he has, what is his fruit called?
The pawpaw fruit.
The pawpaw fruit?
Yes.
And by this time, Luffy's knocked out. Like, he's like out cold.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't know what's going on. Dude, this shot's so good. Like Zoro facing him, him holding his fucking Bible. Apparently Kuma was like a tyrant in the past. And he's like a bad fucking dude who has changed his ways or something.
But he needed Jesus. And
Apparently he met Jesus, yeah. But look at his little paws on his hands.
It's the best power ever, dude. I want little pawpaws on my hand.
I don't get how you get the pawpaw fruit, right? And its ability is to repel space time and like repel anything, repel concepts and shit. Like
repel everything.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like how does that happen? And he just like puts his hand in front of all the attacks and just pop pop pop.
He's got little bear paws.
He got little bear paws, dude. And like he lives in bear indentions when he hits people. And yeah, they can't fucking touch this guy. And like Zoro's trying his damnedest to beat this guy, and so Sanji, but they can't take him on at all.
There's no way, dude.
Yeah, even Sanji's like foot is like fucked up from kicking so much. Let's see. Oh yeah, then he does his like, all right, well, time to wipe y'all out. Because yeah, what happened right before, like Kuma was like at the top of the tower, and he's like, and then he just calls Sengoku. He's like, yo, Luffy fucking kicked this shit in like we thought. Okay. And Sengoku's like, okay, well, bring back Moria. Like, don't let him die and wipe out Luffy because we can't let people know that fucking Luffy beat another Warlord of the Sea. We're going to look like assholes, right? They just don't want that information to get out. So that's what Kuma does, right? He's like, he just shows up. He's going to kill everyone. And he's gonna save Moria. Yeah, and then he does this like ultimate move. They're like, all right, well, I'm done playing. I'm gonna wipe y'all out. And he like just starts gathering a bunch of. He gathers a giant bear paw, basically, like a spirit bomb. And then it releases and just annihilates everyone on the island.
I think that is probably like the strongest like attack in One Piece.
Really?
Ursa's shock.
He don't kill no one, Bryce. I don't know.
No, dude. I mean, he's not trying, I guess.
He might not have been trying. I don't know.
I feel like it's incredible.
It's really cool looking every time they do it. And it's a pretty good name. Ursa's shock, dude. That's a pretty good name.
It's a little paw print. What would you feel, Adrian, if he sent that little paw at you? He's like Ursa's shock.
Well, he makes it like
oh,
really,
look at it.
He makes it really small and slow.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. He makes it really small and slow, and you think like, oh, what is this dumb bullshit? But yeah, he sets it off, and it just like nukes the damn island. Like, yeah, it's kind of a kid's show. It's not going to kill everyone. It mostly just knocks everyone out.
Got a damn rock on her head.
But everyone survives, right? Luffy's still fucking fine. But yeah, it's like how he repels that rock, dude. It's so good. He just touches it and just shoots it off. Probably kill some other poor bastard. But Kuma's gonna kill Luffy. Like, I imagine he just want to knock everyone else and just kill Luffy and stop. He seems like that type of person. Who's like, okay, I'll follow your orders, but only your orders. I'm not gonna like kill other people. But he's gonna kill Luffy, and Zoro like is knocked out because he's a gangster, and gets like an actual hit in on him. But it's like revealed like he's part machine, or like looks like no, he looks like he's human, but like he has something strapped to him as well, right? It's not. Maybe it's like his body's on life support or something.
He's got machine bits.
Yeah, but he's got machino bits, and Zoro's like, dude, what the fuck is like, what is up with you? And he's shoots the laser out of his mouth. So he's probably more like Frankie, if anything, like just like a cyborg.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Because Frankie doesn't look very cyborg until like his arm comes off.
So he does everything he does. I don't even know what parts of him are like human. His head, I guess. I don't know. I am nothing like cyborg Frankie. I'm way more advanced. But yeah, he's basically like whatever his government's genius, science is Dr. Vegapunk, which I still have not met yet, but he seems like an asshole from everything I could see so far.
He does a lot of shit, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, this scene, holy shit, this scene right here. This is one iconic One Piece scenes. Is this another one of them?
Another one, dude. Another one
where like, say, all right, you have to kill one of us. Like, let me die. Like, kill me. Zoro wants to sacrifice himself instead of Luffy. And begs Kuma for it, and he's like, my bounty isn't worth as much as him, but it probably should be, because it should be. Zoro's bounty should be higher, if high as Luffy's, but he's been held back so many times. Because he's just as fucking dangerous, dude.
Every single person who's seen him is like, man, I need to get rid of this guy now.
Yeah, like pretty much every time, right? Or like they see him like, wait, why isn't he the captain or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like that does happen. And yeah, he was like, I will become a fucking issue later. You could kill me right now. So for that man, when you harbor such a great, yeah, and Kuma's like, you would sacrifice for Luffy when you want to like do something like that. Yeah, and he's like, hey, my ambition is nothing. I would gladly sacrifice it. I would sacrifice my fucking dream, my promise to my friend, because I fucking believe Luffy will become the king of pirates. It's so fucking good, dude. It's just like
taking it back. He's like,
he's saying like, no, it's a fact that he's going to, like, it's so good, dude. Saying it like it's just a straight fucking fact. Like, he's gonna be king of pirates. I'm so fucking sure I'll die on it right now. Sanji is seeing all the shit go down, and Sanji's trying to swap in, right? And he's like, nah, like, it would be more if we lost you. Like, you can't. Sanji's trying to sacrifice himself now. But Zoro ain't having that shit, and he fucking knocks out Sanji at some point. Yeah, he fucking knocks his ass out. It's like, nah, not happening. And then Kuma like Kuma agrees actually. And like, damn, I will show you hell. So Kuma repels all the pain and like damage that has been caused to Luffy in this fight, and like repels it out, and it creates this bubble, right? So I imagine Kuma could have killed Zoro in some other way, but I think he wanted like, okay, if there's a 1% chance this guy survives, like, you know, I'll accept it, kind of thing. But yeah, it's the bubble scene, right, where like it's just like all the damage that's been done to Luffy, and yeah, he wants Zoro to take all that damage in on him, and it should kill him. Like, that's Kuma's just like stating it a fact, like, you will die receiving this damage. And he gives him a little taste of it, right, and like brings him down to his feet and shit. Mm-hmm. And Zoro's like, all right, I got a little taste. All right, let's do this somewhere else. And then, you know, it cuts to Kuma leaving because he's like, I killed him. He's gonna do it. He's gonna die.
Right.
And it cuts to Zoro fucking looking at that fucking bubble and then just sticking his arms in. And then the episode cuts off and you don't know what happened to him. And everyone's like fine, and like Luffy feels great because you basically got healed, and no one knows like what happened. And then Sanji wakes up, and he's like, "Fuck that shit," and he instantly starts looking for Zoro. And I think it shows that Brook had seen everything too. And yeah, he runs out there and just sees him standing out in the field. And it's like, oh man, shit, that was scary. He's trying to act casual about it. And just fucking see Zoro all bloody. It's just fucked up. There's blood everywhere on the ground, dude. There's so much shit like, look at this fucking scene, dude. There's so much blood everywhere.
Looks like he exploded, dude.
Yeah, like how is he still a fucking person? Like, oh, it's so fucking good. He's like, what happened? Nothing happened. And he's just standing there fucking just taking it, dude. Oh, it's so good, man. Holy shit, what a way to end the fucking arc. Yeah. Fucking Zoro's so cool. I love him, like,
he's like inches
great.
from death right here, dude.
Yeah, like, dude, and it's the thing I like about this scene, and it's still affecting him now, right? Or where I'm at in the show, right? Where I'm a bit more ahead. Like, he's feeling the after effects of this still. Like, he's basically Kuma's like, I'm gonna nerf you for 100 episodes. Boom! Because he can't fucking fight because of this properly. He's like super weakened. Yeah, it affects, like, it's not like this happens and oh, that's it, right? It does affect him greatly. And like a lot of the crew members, like the respect for him, a bunch of them find out what happened, but they choose not to tell Luffy. But right, like,
because he'd feel like shit about it, dude.
Yeah, he would fucking be like, how could you do that? But like, Sanji has like this newfound respect for Zoro, and Brook like knows what kind of person Zoro is now, and Robin like fucking respects the shit out of Zoro now too.
Who knows if anyone else could have taken that hit?
Yeah,
I don't think anyone other than Zoro would have lived.
Yeah. And even Zoro was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking die here. All right, let's go. But again and again, he shows that he's fucking refusal to die, dude. Dude, Zoro probably will die at the end of the series. I'm gonna be real. Like, he's survived so much shit. I bet at the end of the series, he will die. He will become the greatest swordsman, and he'll probably die at the last fight or something. Like, dude, they're building up to it.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. A little Laboon. Yeah, the next episodes are the Brook backstory, man, which is fucking heartbreaking, dude. Like, I like watched the hype ass Zoro episode, then I was like, all right, I can't watch this next episode. I gotta take a break. I can't fucking go watch fucking Laboon get abandoned and shit all over again. This is gonna
suck. Like a little baby.
Yeah, like exactly. I was like, dude, I don't want to watch. I was like, dude, I do not want to watch this guy get abandoned again. But oh, it's like a really nice scene.
Everyone's partying because
everyone's partying. Defeated. Yeah. And yeah, like Luffy revealed he asked him like, did you actually meet Laboon? And yeah, like Luffy tells him, like, dude, he's doing like, dude, he's just bawling his eyes out. It's so sad.
The fact that he's still alive.
Yeah, the Boon's still alive and still remembers them and is still waiting for them, right? And yeah, and then it just flashes back to little Laboon, like when they first met him. He like got lost from his like pack, and the music kind of, oh yeah, he still has that scar there, huh? And yeah, it's about him and his crew going on adventures, and like they have Laboon on their side, right? And like they get into pirate fights. And like Laboon saves them and shit, and Brook at night would like sing the Laboon and play music for them. Like, dude, they're going on great. Look at this, dude.
Look at Brook dancing.
Yeah, they got this incredible like fucking happy crew, and Laboon's part of the crew, dude. But eventually they get across to the Grand Line, and they're like, we can't take him with us, man. He's gonna fucking get killed out there. He's a little kid. He's a little baby. So it's like a really sad scene where like Laboon won't have it, so they literally like hide from him for like weeks, to like try to get him to go away, and like he's still crying out there, and it's a really sad scene, right? They cross the Grand Line, and fucking Laboon follows him. He's like, "Nah, dude, I'm still here." Because they meet what's his face, who was Laboon's doctor in the future, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, you and that baby whale." They're like, "What the fuck? He followed us." And there's little Laboon, and yeah, this is happy time with Laboon. Look at all the happy times. I'm sure nothing bad is gonna happen. I'm sure they're gonna be friends forever. Let's see here.
They leave and they say, "We'll be back."
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, they said, "Hey, we'll be back. Stay here." Again, you're too small to go. Like we're going where there's like a ton of sea kings, and we can't watch you all the time in the water, right? They just straight camp. Oh, and like the fucking sad scene where like Brooke is just like on the ship by himself for like decades, right? Like it's many decades, and he's like hallucinating, and then like he's collecting all the skulls of his members, right, in the chest. And he's having flashbacks on everything, but like how they cut to like where he thinks everyone's okay again, then it cuts back and oh no, he's still a fucking skeleton again. And at some point their captain caught a disease, and I think this guy survives or something, because I think that's the guy who they mentioned who went home, and that's when Crocus told him, "Hey, Laboon, they went home. They didn't stay on the Grand Line." But basically, like, hey, this guy can't sail anymore because he has his disease. So their ships split off into two ships. One goes back home. Another one is where Brooke becomes the captain, and he kind of like makes a name for himself. And again, yeah, more sad scenes of them not being there anymore. But they go around and become like big pirates in the Grand Line. And eventually they like meet their fate where like they bump into pirates who use poison arrows and weapons. And it really sad scene where it's just like, hey, we're all gonna die soon, right? But I will come back because I ate that fruit. Can we like record this for Laboon? Like they said, like mention like, hey, we're gonna record this for Laboon so he can hear everyone one last time. And it's just how it's shot, right? Like of them playing, and then slowly one person dies, a two person dies. Like the music just starts fading out for all the people who are playing the music because all the fucking musicians are dying over time. And it's a really nice song. What is it? Binks Booze, which is like now
Binks
like
Brew. Yeah.
Binks Brew or something like that. It's a really catchy song. I really liked it.
It is the pirate shanty that
Yeah,
they sing a lot of in the show.
Yeah, it is the pirate shanty in the show. Yeah, they're just falling over and dying.
He's just sad because, like, as they're falling down, he's being like, "This has turned into a quartet, a trio,
Oh yeah,
a duet."
He's
like, then a solo.
Yeah, and it's just him on his own. And then that's pretty much it. The next episode is yeah, like I think Brooke's backstory is good, and like how it wraps up with Laboon. Like I want to see that reunion one day, but he talks to him, says like, "Hey, Laboon, I am halfway there now. I'm gonna see you on the fucking other side, like just like I originally promised. You've waited this long, you could wait a couple more years. I'm gonna follow Luffy, and by the time we're on the other side, he's gonna be king of pirates and all that shit, which is very very nice." Let's see here. Was it new? This is where it flashes back to Brooke, and then Brooke like officially introduces himself. Your head is the storage unit. Where he grabs his like flyer, puts it on the ground, like, this is who I am. I'm the something Brooke, whatever. Here's Nami and Lola, and little Laboon got happy for some reason because he could like feel his friends alive or something. They make like a on Thriller Bark. they make like a grave for all his crewmates. He grabbed because he gathered them all in like a coffin, right? All their skulls, and then they made like a monument to him, which is really nice, like ending of that story. And I'll flash back to them again, and Zoro's like, "Hey, can I lay my sword to rest here with these guys?" And he lays his sword to rest that was rusted out. And that's the like end of Thriller Bark. It's just everyone saying goodbye to each other. Lola reveals what that piece of paper that Ace gave Luffy. Like 1,000 episodes ago, I'm pretty sure. God, okay. How did he? Okay, I guess he knew what those papers were going to do eventually, but the fact that they finally get back to it, right? And it's like, oh yeah, this is for the new world. This is like everyone in the new world uses these. It's basically like tied to someone's like life force or something. I can't remember. They do some kind of ritual for it to work.
They're the Vivre cards.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you rip off a piece, wherever you give that piece to, it kind of like always kind of pulls them in the direction of the
other
person.
pieces. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, so Luffy has one that would obviously point him towards Ace. And Lola reveals
that's why I gave it to him.
Because she. Which one is this one? Is this one for Lola, or for her mom? This is my mom. This is my mom's favorite card. Got it. And that's when I figured like, oh, this character's important. This one I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna come back 1,000 episodes later. Got it. And yeah, it points towards her mother. But they look at Aces. Luffy pulls out the one that was Nami sewed into his hat, and it's fucking burning. It's like getting smaller and smaller. Luffy had not known this, but Ace had gotten captured by Blackbeard Teach. Who, holy shit, man, Blackbeard.
This is the first time we hear about it, because back at the end of, what was it, the end of Skype?
No, it was the end of Enies Lobby, yeah.
Was it
the very last episode where they fought?
Where Ace and Blackbeard showed down?
Yeah. It's Kuma mentions that Blackbeard is now a warlord, like in the middle of this to Moria. Because he like had turned in Ace, yeah. And
that pretty much like gave him a seat to the warlords.
Yeah, because the way, like, because I am further in, the way they talk about Ace, I'm like, oh shit, Ace could have been like a warlord or something if he wanted to. Like, Ace was that strong. Is that crazy strong, right? Sad that we never get to see very much of it very often, but apparently, like, hey, Ace was like a big fucking deal when he was like coming out here originally. But yeah, his card is burning up, and it's like signifies that not that they're like dying, but they're just like weak in a weakened state. They're like, you know, that they're just weakened.
Yeah.
Like right now he's captured basically and starving and getting tortured and shit. So the card is not doing well. And Luffy decides, well, like, I'm not gonna worry about Ace because he's on his own adventure. I'm sure if he like actually needs my help, he would ask for it or something like that. But we'll look into it. Kind of like we'll look into it later. I'm sure he will be fine, kind of thing, right? And that's kind of where it leaves it. It just shows that like Ace is, hey, he got captured, or he doesn't even know Ace is captured. He just knows he's in a weakened state because Ace being captured is not public knowledge at all. And the very, very last episode is just Brook trying to like be part of the crew, and he
being kind of awkward.
He being awkward, yeah, and like trying to find his place and just constantly fucking shit up and like ruining Nami's maps or not being able to spot Zoro. Yeah, and I felt bad in this episode, but yeah, he'll find his spot. And eventually he does, where he's like playing music and shit. Or no, he just chills out, right? Like he just stops trying so hard and just like acts with himself. And he plays music at the very end of the day, and like, and everyone likes it.
Starts gathering around.
And that is the end of Thriller Bark, which the next one is called Summit War. Let me see here. See more episodes. Yeah. So in Crunchyroll, they call this arc, the next coming up arc, Summit War, which it is like 120 episodes or some shit. It is it's a very, very big arc. But yeah, Thriller Bark, man. I don't know. Like, it was totally fun. Like, I enjoyed. I did so like Skype, right? It was very hard for me to get through it. Like, very, very hard. Thriller Bark, like, I consistently consumed. I think it was a good side adventure, right? Of like, hey, well, it's not a side adventure because a lot of main stuff still happen. It's dealing with the warlord and all that shit, but like, how it's themed is like very fun, right? It's not too serious in a lot of the times. The enemies are goofy and it builds out more of the world and stuff. So like, yeah, I just enjoyed it a bunch, right? It probably could have been like 20 episodes long, and yeah, it was like 60 or something. But I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I'm glad. I love Halloween shit and all that, right? I am disappointed by Moria a little bit. I was looking for a Dracula type, and maybe I'll get that later. But yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about Thriller Bark when you had watched it overall?
Kind of like the same.
Yeah,
They built up Moria for a little bit. Like I said, he went up against Kaido. He's a warlord of the He's a warlord of the sea.
This fucking
Nah, he's just some couch potato dude. He's like,
yeah.
I'm cool, just chilling here. It'll all happen eventually.
Yeah, I'll literally get carried to King of Pirates. That's what like my goal is create an army so they literally care, so I don't have to lift a finger.
But Kuma's like a big selling point for this thing. Just him being there, his introduction, and him actually giving us like the details on what actually happened between Blackbeard and Ace, because we had no idea what had happened to him. It just cuts off at the end of the fight once they're like getting into it.
Yeah,
so we're just like, oh shit, Blackbeard got Ace.
Yeah,
and he's a warlord. He turned him into the government. Holy cow! It's like it's like, building up to some really important stuff.
Definitely, you could feel that, especially man, dude. Like Blackbeard, it's like people keep letting him get away with shit, dude. Like people will not like stop him, even where I'm at now, where they're just like, dude, there's a big problem walking around, and you guys are just not looking at him, and he's just doing whatever he wants, dude.
That's kind of like like what's making him so powerful is that people like just kind of overlooking him. He's just can do whatever he wants. Everyone's like, Blackbeard, whatever. Like, I don't even know about him.
Yeah, I could talk about this length, but that's for next podcast. About like Blackbeard and how that shit even got rolling and all that. But dude, it just makes me very excited for this next part. And like, I'm like halfway through the next part, right? I'm not done, but where I'm at is like, fuck, dude. Like, by the end of this, I know this show is gonna be changed forever, right? Like, this is like, you could tell like this next arc is like, this is like the end of like it could have been the end of the show, but it's actually like, okay, here's part 1 done. Now we're gonna go to part 2 after this. Like, now we're gonna move on to it, but like, yeah, definitely everything's been building up to this next arc in a lot of ways, and like hundreds of episodes back is the thing. Like, they're referencing things like way back where like they had one little scene where a couple of these characters are talking, and now it's like the most important shit later down the line, dude. It's fucking cool, man. I really like the continuity and how like they pay attention to that stuff in this show, because usually like an arc finishes in most animes and you like don't go back to it, right? Like Moria we probably would have never seen again in most shows, but the fact that like Kuma was there brings them back, and how it introduces Kuma, who becomes like this fucking force to be reckoned with down the line, is great. Thriller Bark is a great setup for like what is to come. I think it is like a very good middle ground. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about it, man. Let's see. But yeah, like I said, that's all I have really left to say about it. An incredible, good slice of this show. It is just very good. I'm excited to. I don't know how I feel about Brooke yet. I'm gonna be real with you, Bress. I still don't know how I feel about him. I do like that he's around and he's funny. I feel like the cruise is getting so big, and I know it's just gonna get bigger. But yeah, I guess I don't have in his memory good memories with Brooke yet. And the next arc is so serious that he gets to shine a little bit.
Right.
And then the arc just goes off the rails, dude.
Right.
Like Brooke doesn't get to do much.
Something you need to keep in mind for Brooke is he's actually like the oldest person on the crew now.
True.
So I'm sure there's going to be a time where something comes up and he just happens to have just a little random piece of information about whatever. He's like, oh, I know about that. There's like stuff like that.
Goldie Roger, that young startup.
Oh, exactly. Right.
Shit like that. Yeah.
I bet he knows something that either it's kind of like in the back of his head, or maybe he feels like it's just kind of irrelevant knowledge. But once it comes up and he brings it up, it'll be important. And I think he's gonna be a big key later on.
Yeah, and again, like I like him overall, but he just doesn't get much time again after this because things just get very serious very quick in this next arc. But I know he's like, I mean, all these characters are fan favorites, obviously, but people like love the cosplay Brooke and all that shit. Yeah, he's just a funny skeleton man.
He's so eccentric. I do love him.
Yeah, he's like so eccentric and all that. Yeah, but I'm excited he's on the crew now. I have no idea who is next. This is as far as knowledge I have of the crew at this point. Anyone else would be a fucking surprise. I know I'm getting to the time skip. I don't know how long, but I know I'm close-ish. And yeah, we'll go from there, man. Like if you like the podcast, comment. Let me know what you think about Thriller Bark, what you didn't like about Thriller Bark. Please subscribe if you want us to continue to see more of these. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna still do our like reactions to OG-san. Maybe thinking about doing what's that show, Devilman, when that comes out at some point.
Chainsaw Man.
Devilman, oh my god, Chainsaw Man. Yeah,
that's a different show.
That's a very different show. But yeah, where can people find you, Russ?
You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/xsuperbeastox, or you can come chill out with me when I'm streaming at twitch.tv/xsuperbeastox. And
same with me. You can follow me on the Twitter at the Twitter handle below, Rando0268, and I stream on twitch.tv/Rando_0268. I'm going to try to do more games in World of Warcraft. We'll see what happens. New 14 patch is coming out, so that's exciting. But other than that, this has been the Bite of Gum Gum podcast. We will see you next time for maybe like part 1 of the Summit arc. We'll see how it goes, because I don't think we can fit all that one into one episode. But we will see you next time for the beginning of the Summit War arc. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yo ho ho, he took a bite of gum gum.